My phone rang earlier today, and I picked it up, and I said, hello. And the man at the other end said, is this Jana Kuypers? And I said, yes it is, may I ask who's calling? And he said, yeah, hi, this is George Washington, and I'm sitting here with Jefferson and a couple other of us guys, and we just wanted to tell you some stuff. And I said, oh, why me? And he said, excuse me, I said I was the one that wanted to do all the talking. That's the problem with Americans nowadays, they're so damn rude. And I said, you know, you really didn't have to use language like that. And he said, oh, I'm sorry, it's just that I've been dead for so long, I lose all control of my manners. Well, anyway, we just wanted to tell you some stuff. Now, I know we didn't have much of an idea of what we were doing when we were starting up this country here. I mean, we didn't have much experience in creating bodies of power, so I can understand how our Constitution could be misconstrued. And he put in a dramatic pause. And he said, but when we said that people had a right to bear arms, we meant that it was to protect yourselves from a government gone wrong, and not so that you could kill a 16-year-old in an ATM machine at 6 p.m. for $20 cash. And when we said that there was freedom from religion, we included the idea, the notion of the separation of church and state, because freedom of religion could mean freedom from religion. And when we said freedom of speech, we had no idea you'd be burning the flag, or painting pictures of Christ doused in urine, or photographing people with whips at the respective anatomies. But hell, I guess we've got to grin and bear it, because if they ban that, the next thing they'll ban is books, and we can't have that. And I said, well, there are schools that have books banned, George. And he said, oh. Tried. Well, and that was the thing. His music works well with so many different pieces.
And I dig that lamp, by the way. That shiny,
that's a groovy little retro thing.
I love it. It's so retro. Yeah.
I wouldn't have the light on, but it's one of those like heat or like bug repellent. It's a yellow light, so it wouldn't quite. Yeah, although there are lots of blue lights in here, so who knows? But
nice green hue.
Yeah, we give a nice green hue to the whole thing. So I was going to do one more piece. I've got it queued up appropriately. This is another one that I read at the show. This music was not in the show, no. But it is called And What I Want to Know. I've been dreaming of you lately. Usually, in my dreams, I see you for just a short while, and then you have to leave. Maybe you tell me you miss me. Maybe you kiss me. Last night, when you left me once again, I drove after you to the airport so that I could say goodbye to you one more time. In my dreams, you're always with me. In my dreams, you're always leaving me. In my dreams, I run after you just to say goodbye again. And what I want to know is, when are these dreams going to stop? And what I want to know is, are you dreaming of me too? I daydream about you in the mornings while my legs are still tangled up in the sheets. I close my eyes so I can feel you there, curled up against me. Why do I have to get out of this bed? And what I want to know is, if you saw me hit by a car, my lifeless body lying in the street, would you hold me up against you? Would you hold my limp arms in your coarse hands? Would you rock me to sleep? Would you cry? Would you not want to say goodbye? And what I want to know is, if you saw that car speeding toward me, would you instantly run to me? Because life is no longer life without the one you love. I know what I would say. I know my answers. And what I want to know is if I will live like this forever. And what I want to know is if I'm going to suffer this alone. And what I want to know is, are you dreaming of me too? Thank you so very much. Thank you very much. On Christmas Eve, we made dinner. Fettuccine Alfredo with chicken and duck, vegetables and bread. We ate. We couldn't finish everything. We were putting on our coats, getting ready to go to midnight mass. I decided to pack up our leftovers, give them to some homeless people on the main street. We got in the car and we drove to Broadway and Berwyn. I got out of the car, walked over to a man there. I asked him if he was hungry. I got the bowl of noodles and a gallon of milk out of the car. Another man walked over to me. I told them to promise that they would share. I got in the car. We were just driving. And all I could think was these two men in the cold were eating pasta with their fingers on Christmas Eve. Thank you. Thank you, Suzanne. Is that something
Perfect.
Actually, it's perfect level.
Okay, very good. Because I have no idea. I'm like, well, I'll put this up here and I'll project the voice and I'm just going to change hat. Although this one's huge, I don't know how this is going to work. Anyway, see, and if anybody wants to wear these hats, I'm going to leave them here. If anybody wants headbands for being in the holiday spirit. This only talks briefly about the notion of Christmas, but it's usually Christmas where it's actually warm. Versus year-round, the snow came down this weekend, lucky us. This is a piece called Coquinas. I can't imagine the number of times I've been there, and visiting Florida, at Christmas with my parents, a plastic tree decorated with sand dollars and red ribbons, eating Christmas dinner, listening to Johnny Mathis, and after the Irish coffee, father with his brandy snifter in hand, mother and the other girls putting away the dishes. The carolers would come, walking out in front of our home, singing, "We wish you a Merry Christmas," over and over again. We would walk outside, and the cool breeze almost felt like Christmas after the hot, humid days. And we would stand in our driveway, smile and nod. You could see down the road all the candles in paper bags lining the street. And for a few lights, the bag burned. And we would take boat rides off the coast, my parents and their friends, to a tiny island. Dad drinking beer, sometimes steering the boat in control. The women sitting together in the shade, worrying about their hair. I would sit at the front, sunglasses, swimsuit, and sunburn, feeling the wind slapping me in the face. And turning my head away from them, into the wind, away from them, to face it again. Docking at a shoreline, everyone jumping out, little bags in their hands. The women go looking for shells, the men go barbecue. After an hour or two, the sandwiches, potato chips eaten, the soda and beer almost gone. We turn around and head back. We have conquered. And I remember the Coquinas, the little shells. You could find them alive on the beaches north of the pier in Naples. Going to the beach, I would look for a spot to find them. They were all my own. They burrowed their way into the sand to avoid the light, worming their way away from me. I unearthed a group of Coquinas once, fascinated with the color of their shells, the way they moved before they could hide. I collected them in a jar and took them home with me. Oh, what did you teach me? What have you taught me to do? Is this it? Is this what it has become? Is this what has become of me? Of you? Of us? And I took them home. I added salt water and sand, but I couldn't feed them. I realized soon that they would die, and so I let them. Very much. Oh, you want to know what? She sang this, and she's like, what did she do? When she came into the recording, it's some figgy pudding, with the kidney foot, and she's like, okay, that's the end of that one. I'm not going to do that anymore. She's like, I couldn't even get that out doing this operatic voice. She's like, nope, no, I'm not going to do it. I'm like, okay, I'll deal with what we've got. That's just fine. Now, nobody has heard this before. Uh-oh, what do you guys? Yeah, it's like, what do I figure that out? Okay, this is actually a piece of prose. And it's really funny to me, but I'm crazy. This, and again, I've had different outfits for each one, so I don't have to have the hat for the last one. It's a little warm after that. This is called Christmas at the Old House. God, I remember the tree. Before my parents moved, when I was just a little kid, we used to have Christmas at the Old House in Chicago. All the brothers and sisters would come over, and on Christmas Eve, we would sit around the tree in the front room. The tree looked so tall. It looked so powerful to me. It looked monstrous, almost like an evergreen. It was green with just a hint of blue to it, and it seemed to glitter just sitting there all by itself. And we would put all sorts of lights on the tree, and we had all these other old silk spun beaded ornaments that my sisters made when they were little, decorating the tree. We put the tree right in front of a huge window in front of the house. During Christmas, we would always see the snow falling, and the presents were everywhere. We all brought gifts for each other, and with 5 children, a brother-in-law, a sister-in-law, parents and grandparents, there were always ended up being a ton of presents. Now, I was the youngest, and the only one that was really still a child. I knew most of those gifts were for me. And everyone would get up from dinner to go open the presents. I would rush into the front room and slide until I fell on the beige carpeting. Well, we never used that front room, so the carpeting always looked new. It even smelled new. I was always the first that was in the room, and I could never understand what on earth took everyone else in the family so incredibly long to get to the Christmas tree. Once, my mother handed a present to me to open. Now, I was a little girl, I fiercely ripped open the package, and I found a handheld electronic math game. It said D-I-G-I-T-S, digits, across the front in strange orange and red colors, like a bad set of curtains from another decade. I didn't know what to think. I had no idea what it was. I didn't even know what the word digits meant. But it was electronic, and it was a present, so I was excited. And all of this was registering in my head. Someone asked me what I just opened. I told them I got a game. Digits! I exclaimed, making it sound like a game about someone knows dirt or something. Everyone started laughing. I had no idea what they were laughing about. You love me so. Thank you, Suzanne. Thanks. Some people talking, and another guy who's always here in the past few months has had a few strokes. Do 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 do. Now this is just grapevine. I just heard snippets, but I need to see him put in my 2 cents. He went out for a smoke, and even though I don't, I walked up to him after he lit up. I reached my hand out toward his cigarettes. He offered me a new one, but I wanted his. Do 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 do. Then holding his smoke, I told him that I heard. I spoke of his wife, asked about his kids, and I don't really wanna get on a high horse here, but we care for him, we want him happy. He said I was right, and he'll take some time off. Then holding his smoke, he said that he should quit. Do 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 do. He handed me his smoke and then walked away. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. I stood there a while, stuck in nicotine, wondering if I made any difference. Do 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 do. That was awesome.
Oh, yeah.
I'd like to be under the sea to watch the fish go swim. I'd like to squish a jellyfish and then let go of him. I'd like to grab a soft-shelled crab and take him for a walk. I'd like to hurdle over a turtle and teach dolphins to talk. I'd like to see a manatee and then go play by him. I'd like to do all of these things if only I could swim.
Oh, wonderful.
I wish I could. So